Welcome back to The Grey Cricketer, brought to you by ACO, India's leading digital insurance company. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry sits across from me. Has a game ever felt more on the back of another game than this game?
Mate, it probably has, to be honest. But my issue is I don't remember anything.
You've got internet brain.
Exactly. So, no.
All right.
No.
Well, the fifth test happens on Friday. It's happening on Friday. They're not going to play it. It's just happening. And the real question is, Pez, can India rinse England?
Yeah.
For a 3-1 series win or a respectable 2-1 draw? 2-1 win. 2-1 draw? What the fuck does that mean?
They say you should always look at, that history is the determinant
That's
of
what they say.
comes next. 2 years ago, Australia was in this precise position.
That's right.
In the Ashes.
Yeah.
They'd won. They were up 2-1. There was a sense of achievement at retaining the urn. They were going to lift the urn. Now, they don't really have this for India, England. I don't know. That fucking Patowdy trophy, or that might be the
No,
one
they have
in
two
India.
different trophy names for two
trophies.
different series.
Whatever.
India already have one trophy for the India series. No, whatever this one is.
It'll soon be the Dada trophy, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But,
it's actually Jack Leach's glasses.
I got a feeling India's not going to fall into the same trap as Australia. But, beware the Australian folly, India. Australia thought it was done at 2-1. Mm-hmm. They were drunk for the fifth test.
Literally.
They were. It still haunts them. There's gloss on a series victory. You don't want the gloss to come off. You don't want the Zoe Goss to come off.
Gloss Butler.
Exactly.
Zoe Gloss. What a reference.
So I think that's the question for India. Can they go in for the kill?
Yeah.
Can they kill? And I feel like India are killers at the moment.
Let's go through the England team first, Pez.
Yep.
Let's go through the batters, and then the bowlers is more interesting. But Joe Root has confirmed a couple of things, the first of which is that Josh Buttler will wicket keep and be vice-captain of this team, Pez. Now, I'm old enough to remember when Josh Buttler played his last test match.
Yes, you are.
Which was about a week and a half ago. So it's nice to see him back after the birth of his second kid, I think. He's straight back in the team, no questions asked. And now the only question remains in terms of the batters, Pope or young Johnny Bairstow, YJB. That's the question for number 5. A showdown, if you will, of the fair-skinned redheads. Who have you got there?
Well, I don't think you can drop Ollie Pope after hitting 81 upon coming back. I think Bairstow's made some good scores and we like watching him and we've built up a cult around him, but it's really been 30s and ducks. And if Butler's going to keep and it's just a showdown between Pope and Bairstow, then I think it goes to Pope. I mean, the alternative is that I see that Jack Leach is in the squad and perhaps he just plays as the first spinner and Moeen drops out and they keep Bairstow and Pope. But I saw that Root also said that Moeen's our first spinner.
He's a first spinner.
But, I don't know if he's playing games with that sort of shit.
He's taken 6 wickets at 50 in this series, so he's the first spinner.
Yeah, why would you bring Jack Leach back into the side if you weren't going to play him?
Yeah. So I think this is part of England's problem, of which they have many. But the Bairstow Pope thing is like, okay, Pope's come in for one game and he scored runs, and is like, does he therefore just immediately replace the guy they picked for the series just through one result? I don't know if it's as obvious as that. I mean, Bairstow has also got a 50 in this series, sure, with more attempts than Pope. Pope was the incumbent, then he was injured, so that's how Bairstow got in the first place. So maybe it's that. Maybe Bairstow hasn't done enough to retain his place over Ollie Pope, who they obviously like and we like to look at. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there.
Who would you pick?
Bairstow.
So you bring Ollie Pope back in, scores 81, and then just pack him. Johnny, we want Johnny.
I suppose it's not as black and white. It's confusing in the sense that they're still trying to find these batters that I don't think exist, and so I guess I don't know. It's very much of a muchness in this game. If we can move to the bowlers though, Pez, so Root, as you rightfully said, Moeen Ali has been confirmed as a frontline spinner, but Leach is in the squad. So the other bowlers, Anderson, Robinson, and Wokes, they all bowled 30 overs on Sunday. 2 of those guys have played a lot of tests in a row, and Wokes was the first time he played cricket since the mid-90s. So those are your options. Will Anderson play? That's the first question.
So Andy Bull wrote in The Guardian that Anderson and Robinson have bowled 330 overs this series.
Wow.
The other 7 English bowlers have bowled 354 overs together. So they have shouldered the load.
Yeah.
I feel like England are really good at playing breezy cricket when the other team has the foot off the gas. Maybe I'm just referring back to Australia there. I could conceivably see England, though it's hard to see because the last thing was bad from them, but I could see them still snatching 2-2. And
Same.
Like, they might pick these two guys. I mean, these two guys, depends how they feel, but they get a big rest after this, really long rest.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy Anderson's home ground. He literally has a stand named after him.
Yeah.
I know that I think Joe Root had said, like, you don't want to pick guys if they're an injury risk. So all the sports scientists will know these things. But to me, it sort of feels like they've come this far and they, of all of the instability in the England team, at least they've created some stability post Stuart Broad in the Anderson-Robinson axis.
Yeah.
It's the last thing India will probably want to face. It depends how they feel. I don't think England are the sort of team that, like, I know that they're all focused on the Ashes and all that kind of thing, but I don't think that means this fifth test is an exhibition. Like, they'll know that there's a chance to make it 2-2 and take a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they still picked both of those guys, unless there's an injury risk I don't know about. They pick Chris Wokes and, Overton, I think, will be out with his elbow.
Yeah.
So it might be Jack Leach who comes in and then Moeen Ali 7, and there you go.
It's interesting. Because Anderson, this might be his last game he bowls from the James Anderson end, because next year the fixtures have been announced. They've got 3 tests against South Africa, 3 tests against New Zealand. Should be a good summer, actually. But none of those games are at Old Trafford.
Right.
So this might be because Anderson's going to play another 2 years after this. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe he might, but it seems unlikely. So this might be his last game. So I've got him down as a lock. He's playing this game.
Well, everyone knows that, you must have the last chance to bowl in front of the end where the stand's named after you.
It's a famous old trope.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing with the bowlers there?
I've got Moeen, Wokes, Leach, Wood, Anderson.
Wood, yeah. Okay, so no Robinson.
No, I thought it looked a bit tired. A bit tired to me.
Fair enough. And, that's not far, like, for me, that's not far off the best bowlers they've got in the circumstances.
It is weird, though, if Leach does come in, because it's weird. Why would you bring him into the squad if you're not going to play him? I know he's been
get back around the boys again.
Get around mate.
He's a great lunch guest.
Fuck, he's a crazy.
I've seen him eat lunch with them. Maybe he's just unbelievable stories. You wouldn't pick it.
Unbelievable. Friend of the show.
He's got a 6-pack too.
Wood, Anderson, Wokes. That's probably just about good enough. And then a couple of spinners. But it's weird the messaging, though, with Root saying, like, no, Moeen's our number one spinner. But you've got a spinner that's his number one job. It's odd.
Well, if he says it, just saying that he's their number one spinner doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be picked either. But
it literally means nothing.
Nothing means anything. We live in a post-truth world too.
Sounds
like
funny?
Moeen's out.
This game doesn't even mean anything.
Well, what does life mean?
I just want to highlight as well, I was talking to you, Pez, about this, but Will McPherson of the Evening Standard has been doing lots of good work this week about reporting fixtures, England squads, etc., because teams have now, they're announcing their World Cup T20 squads. India's done that yesterday. He was saying that Chris Silverwood hasn't even spoken to Stokes about the World Cup. I now understand that Ben Stokes is not going to the World Cup, and Will was sort of very much presenting the idea that Stokes won't play cricket again this year. So from an Australian standpoint, that would mean that both Archer and Ben Stokes are out of the Ashes, and it's really hard to think about what's going to be good about this summer, given that there's also not going to be an Afghanistan test match either. So let's hope the Big Bash is good this year, eh? The Indian team, though, Pez, now the Indian team will be without the head coach, the bowling coach, and the fielding coach in the 5th test, as they've all got to quarantine following COVID protocols, etc. So there's that. But the batters, let's start with the batters. Does Rahane play? You playing Rahane?
I am, yeah.
Same. Sky doesn't play? No Agarwal?
Well, I woke up last night at about 1 a.m. and my 1-year-old was crying, so then I had to go to the toilet as well. And took my phone.
That's a whole dance, isn't it?
I wasn't obviously all there, and I saw the India squad was announced, and I saw all these names. I saw Surya Kumar Yadav. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And I was like, oh, Ashwin's in, yeah, awesome. Pandya, what?
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
and
then I was like, oh, well, they're just experimenting. Yeah, it's fine. Obviously, worked out that was their T20. A lot of people are like, why wasn't Darwin here? It's like, well, I wasn't there in the first place. But that was their T20 side. Yeah, I would pick relatively the same side. I'd maybe give, Siraj might need a rest.
Yeah,
one or two of those guys need a rest.
Yep.
But I'd pick the same side, essentially.
I've got Rohit, KL Rahul, Pujara, Virat, Rahane, Punt, Jadeja 7. I've got Ashwin at 8.
Yep.
Depends if he's behaved himself this week. I got Shami 9, Boys Yadav 10, Boomer 11. I mean, you can't. Yeah, Boomer's obviously played every game, so he's bowled as much as the rest of them in this series. But on the high of what happened last week, you can't take Boomer out. He'll play. Boys Yadav, I think he was letting wicket take on that game for India. He took 3 from the second innings, definitely. He might have taken 4 in the first innings. So he had a good game. I think he plays and he'll be fresh, and Shami was rested. So you got 3 seamers, and then you got 2 spinners in Jadeja and Ashwin. I mean, it seems like it's going to spin. That's the mail. That's the mail.
Seems like it's going to spin.
It's so nice.
You like that?
Not really. So yeah, that means that Tupac is once again dead. They have to put down the hologram
for you. I mean, he has. How could you not pick him again? He was literally in the top 2 most influential players.
What's your team then?
Well, batters no change. I think Ashwin will be left out again. I think something's going on with Ashwin, and I think that. Kohli,
do you? Let's talk about that.
Well, I do.
Something behind closed doors.
Well, I mean, Kohli's left out a guy that has taken 400 Test wickets.
Yeah.
I actually think that most of it is probably horses for courses stuff. England also haven't really lent on spinners either.
He's the wrong horse.
Yeah, he's the wrong horse for the wrong course.
Yeah.
And I think that he's appreciated the template. He likes it. I think Takua will play. I think maybe he'll rest Siraj and bring in Shami, and the rest will remain the same. So one change. That's when you win a game, the side's on a high.
Yeah.
I don't really think anything else has happened.
I think that, I don't think Rahane will get dropped because, Pujara's obviously done enough the last game as well. Probably the last 2 games, to be fair to him. He's got 50s in both games, right? Is that right? Yeah. So, Rahane, sure, he's the weakest link there. I suppose there's a question, will Jadeja bat 5 again? He batted 5 in both innings. It didn't seem like it was actually a lunchtime watchman, as we suggested on day 1 in the 4th Test match. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. Maybe they're trying to hide Rahane at 6. I think he deserves another go. He's the vice captain of the team.
By the same token, there's such a halo around India after the this particular win that if you saw the team list and Sky was in instead of Rahane, you'd probably go, oh, this is interesting. Oh, that's very progressive. They don't really. There's no room for sentiment. They're going to keep moving the team forward even though they're winning.
Ruthless.
You know what I mean? They could do that. And you'd go, oh, okay, yeah, I see that thinking, but I think they'll want to finish off the job. I think they'll rotate the quicks. I don't think Ashwin will play, and I think that there's a bit of rain around at Old Trafford. It's green on day 1. It's meant to be dry, but they said that about the Oval as well, and it was dry, and Kohli was pretty happy with having 4 quicks, so I think he'll keep it relatively similar.
Yeah, I think there's probably a few factors there. I think that what happened in the New Zealand Test match, the World Test Championship final, where they picked the team and they went for the wrong template, that obviously really stung them. They realised they got that wrong, and they're unlikely that they'll go back to that, especially in England. They might play 4 spinners next time they play in India, but and then with Rahane, it's interesting. I wonder if he's been sort of saved a little bit through circumstance with KL Rahul doing so well.
Totally.
Because he can bat. He scored 100 in the county game, batting 5, I think it was. Down the order. He can bat down the order. Agarwal's there. Sky, for instance. I don't think he can open, but but also the team's winning games, and there's no desperate need to change things whilst the team's winning. So. He's just about got enough credits in the bank. All right, Pez, third thing, predictions that will be wrong. Let's do some predictions that will be wrong. My prediction is that nothing will matter because Ronaldo's playing on Saturday afternoon.
Exactly.
Literally across the road.
You'll hear Old Trafford bouncing.
Yeah.
That'll be 1-1. I'm telling you. Yeah, cloudy. Bit and a bit green.
Yep.
And then dry for a couple of days and heaps of rain.
So you're saying it's supposed to rain?
Yeah, it's going to rain day 1, day 5. It's meant to be quite messy. It's meant to be a lot of breaks.
Right, okay. Messi's not playing.
He is for PSG, but
oil money.
Toss is important. Look, everything is always polarised and binary, and England were only one good day of cricket away from them possibly taking a series lead. Anderson from the Anderson end, a lot will depend on the toss. I think. I do
completely agree.
I don't think it's a case of India have broken the back of England. They're just guys who play really good cricket. But if India can get a foothold in the game, then they really will be able to exploit it. It's
been such a great series, and in many ways, it's sad that it's coming to an end. There's only one more game, but it has been a great series, and in heaps of ways. Okay, India they probably would have won the first game, so it could be 3-1. But England could have won at Lords, and they could have won this game as well. So England could actually be leading. It's just you would suggest that actually it's more likely that it's going to be 2-2. So therefore, that will be wrong now, and somehow it's actually going to end up 4-1. So. Yeah, I mean, it's just as likely that England bounce back. They win the toss and they bowl, and India are out for like 110 because Anderson's just taken 7 from the James Anderson end. That's all possible.
It's what they do. You know, like I mean, we have long memories of England, winning dead rubbers against Australia.
Oh,
they've done it many times.
Yeah.
And
is this a dead rubber for you?
It's not. No, it's not. And so, but in 5 Test series, there've been many times when Australia's been ahead and they just gift them a game
for sure.
because they're drunk.
Yeah.
I know India's not like that. And so that'll be interesting to see. But England are a sort of team where I just feel like their whole nation's approach to cricket it's actually quite endearing in a way where like each game is an event in and of itself, and that'll be the same at Old Trafford. Jimmy Anderson will be there. Like they'll be up for it. Joe Root's there's all sorts of records for Joe Root. He's got the hot hand as well. So like India will have to be on their game massively. If they think it's going to be a walkover, it won't be. England don't sort of play like that. They'll make it its own event. So I think it still could be a really good game. And if it is just a little bit more open because India feel like they've broken the back, there could be some really interesting things that happen.
So therefore, it will rain for 5 days non-stop. I'm looking forward to this. All right, hashtag AskTGC brought to you by ACCO. This comes in via Patreon, Pez, from the username One Little Indian, who says, which is the best collapsing team in world cricket right now? Which is the best collapsing team in world cricket right now? England, India, Pakistan, West Indies, or the Australians?
Well,
we've all got different skills. I like that.
I think there's countries missed out in terms of collapse. Afghanistan. I mean, according to the ICC overnight.
They don't even play anymore.
Well, if
that's quite the falling apart.
If you're not prepared to put a women's team out there, then you are going to collapse.
Yeah.
So, but they actually have quite a strong middle order.
Well,
otherwise.
the ICC, that was actually the same like 4 years ago when the ICC granted Afghanistan test status. The women couldn't play then either, so bit going on there.
What do you think?
There was a period of time there between like in the mid tens of the 2000s. What era is that? What do you call that? Like 2010 to 2019. What decade's that?
The tens.
The tens. That does not. Different to the Thames, which is different. Yeah, there was a period there where we were just sick for a collapse. Stuart Broad 8 for 15. South Africa all out 7 or whatever we were, 38 or some shit.
Real vibes team.
Real vibes team. So I was sick for that then. Changing shit left, right, centre. So I was very appreciative of an Australian collapse where just couldn't even hit the ball. Like not even just nicking off, although there was a bit of that, just fucking stumps everywhere, splayed pegs, etc.
We've still got a bit of it in us as well.
Oh, we've got it in us. Don't worry about that. I'm not really... I mean, I was going to say I haven't seen an Indian collapse. They've been bowled out twice for 38 and 78.
Yeah, I mean, India's
good
for a dramatic collapse.
Dramatic collapse. But then they're still good. So, haven't seen a New Zealand collapse for a long time.
Yeah, we don't see them much.
I mean, I suppose they get bowled out for 60 in Bangladesh. So...
That's an average score over there, isn't it?
That's
a competitive total.
It's 20 too many. Pakistan, I don't know. Do England really fall apart?
It's funny,
really fall apart.
Oh, well, they lost 4 for 6.
Yeah. Well, in India, they also couldn't hit it.
Yeah. But it feels like collapses don't count in India. Oh, really collapse. Like, well, once it's fruit picking season.
Yeah.
Just walk off, kick them over.
That's just after monsoon season.
That's right.
Fruit picking season.
Once you hear the cries from the fielders around you and it's fruit picking season.
Punt stops laughing behind
Exactly.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't have an appeal. Fuck, it's like the Joker. All right. Hey, we're doing a live stream for session 1, day 1, 5th test. That's Friday evening our time, Friday, whatever time it is you are watching that around the world right here on YouTube. We'll be doing that again. Looking forward to that. So join us right here on the YouTubes. Looking forward to this one. See you tomorrow.